My name is Lauren Kim, and I'm from La Cañada, California. I'm 16 years old, and during the pandemic, my dad was diagnosed with the signet ring cell diffuse stomach cancer. I always known to be the strongest and healthiest person I known, so when I heard that he was sick, I was like, oh no. There were no symptoms ahead of time, and how it all started was my dad was scheduled to go in for a colonoscopy, and his friend suggested that, why not get an endoscopy instead since you're going to be under sedation. After all the testing, the day before his 50th birthday, he was diagnosed with gastric cancer, stage 1. So we were able to catch it early. My dad got a partial gastrectomy since he got robotic surgery. It was fairly simple. He got out after 4 days. Eating, it was definitely an adjustment. He had to stick with like liquid food, and he would always be eating a popsicle. And ever since then, he's being monitored and he's getting routine endoscopies. After my dad was diagnosed, he got gene tested, and he didn't have any gene mutations for gastric cancer, but because of that, my mom got gene tested, and we found that she has a gene mutation for ovarian and uterine, and through that she was able to get her uterus and one of her ovaries removed. I'm just here to be the youth perspective, because I feel like there wasn't necessarily any resources for me to rely on when my dad was diagnosed. So when I turned to the internet to just learn more about his diagnosis and the future treatments, I don't know, all the medical terminology was just way too difficult for me to comprehend. I decided to make a brochure that just covered the basics of stomach cancer, where we're at with research funding and stuff, and some of the misconceptions that I had, can you live without a stomach? Does stomach cancer always cause nausea, bloating, and stomach pain? I'm sure if I had these misconceptions, a bunch of other young youth people also had these misconceptions. So I hope to distribute it to LA, any health clinics, and maybe City of Hope. Yeah, I hope it answers any of their questions and clears up any misconceptions that they had. Well, my hope for stomach cancer in the future is that we update guidelines. We start making guidelines for endoscopies, because where stomach cancer is common in South Korea and Japan, they already have these guidelines, and people are already getting checked, getting tested, and catching these things early. And I think the best way to fight an epidemic like this is through prevention, and we really need to start pushing forward through early detection and prevention. Instead of looking at this whole thing as a setback, I don't know, I like to view it more as a blessing in disguise, because it helped push my family into a healthier outlook on life. We got on a healthier diet, and just our perspective on life completely changed. So I'm a bit, it was unfortunate at the moment, but in the long run I'd say it turned out to be something hopeful and good.